Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the number one source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter. Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter, and welcome to Goldilocks Global Banking News. I'm your host. Folks, today Goldilocks is sharing the latest developments coming out of Iraq on what they're doing to connect to the international banking system electronically. Also, Goldilocks is sharing from Vietnam and what they're doing as far as tokenizing or the electronic representation of assets that will be in the new banking system, and NASDAQ is doing the same thing. What if Vietnam is connected to NASDAQ and will, once they are upgraded to an emerging market? Do you know the trillions of dollars that are traded every day on NASDAQ, the stock exchange? Do you understand how much Vietnamese dong, if Vietnam is connected to NASDAQ, you know how much dong would be traded? Folks, let's jump right into what Goldilocks is sharing today. Let's get right into Iraq from the CBI. The Central Bank of Iraq, the governor of the central bank, had discussions with India's ambassadors covering the capacity of building technological expertise and infrastructure development between Iraq and India. Yes, we know that India is one of the major players in the BRICS nations. The governor of the Central Bank of Iraq emphasized the central bank's commitment to advancing what are called payment systems and electronic channels to boost financial inclusion and service efficiency. This is the electronic connections that Iraq is making to the international banking system. This is more. They've been doing this in other avenues already, now more. In addition, both India and Iraq agreed in ongoing coordination to explore cooperation opportunities between both countries regarding the banking system connections. The meeting between the governor of the Central Bank of Iraq and the United Nations also has occurred. And they discussed, the United Nations along with Iraq in their meeting discussed technical advice and regulatory frameworks, which are reforms for e-commerce, which is electronic banking, emphasizing the protection of Iraqi citizens in the new banking system. The governor of the Central Bank of Iraq highlighted significant progress in digital transformation in Iraq, particularly in reducing cash reliance, meaning reducing the reliance on physical dinar for electronic transactions in trade and services. Folks, this is where they're looking to digitize, have more digital representation of the Iraqi dinar in the banking systems. He also outlined the central bank's banking sector's reforms, including collaboration with Oliver Wyman International consulting firm, and they commended Iraq on its successful strengthening of the Iraqi banking systems through electronic means. Now we go into NASDAQ. Folks, everything is absolutely connected to everything. Now, NASDAQ's rule change. They've actually requested a rule change from the SEC regarding tokenized stocks. This is the electronic or the digital, whatever you want to call it, representation of a physical asset. It could be the electronic representation of dinar, dong, gold, silver, any asset. The electronic representation is tokenized. The option for settlement in either conventional or tokenized form is handling the flexibility of moving money electronically. Currency, currency, currency. NASDAQ's president emphasizes this as a move to responsibly bridge digital and traditional assets, enhancing market efficiency and trust. This is the bridging of the old financial system, connecting it to the new. What Goldilocks is sharing is yes, stock market performance influences global currency exchange rates. Why? Folks, trillions of dollars are exchanged in the stock market every single day. Don't you know that that is done in the currencies of those countries? Many of the currencies that we hold will now become accessible on many stock exchanges, especially in Vietnam, if their stock market is upgraded to emerging market status. Goldilocks is stating that a strong stock market signals a strong economy, attracting more foreign investments and increasing demand for the dong, the dinar, the bolivar. The demand for any currency becomes stronger as foreign investors have access through electronic means in the new banking system that they didn't have access to in the old. Vietnam is working also to upgrade its own stock market to emerging market status and enhance global integration. Vietnam is in the process of upgrading its stock exchange infrastructure and processes, including a trial of new technology and implementing reforms to attract more foreign investment. This comes from T. Rowe Price. The goal is to be reclassified from them being classified as a frontier market to an emerging market. Not to move its national stock exchange to the NASDAQ as a base exchange. Key developments in Vietnam stock market that are on the table right now. The MSCI upgrade potential, which is expected in 2026 and beyond, which is the Morgan Stanley. October the 7th is the FTSE Russell Stock Exchange. Technological upgrades. Vietnam has already upgraded their infrastructure and their stock exchange to the Korean exchange. Reforms. Regulatory reforms. Vietnam is implementing measures, reforms to improve liquidity, flexibility, such as to assure foreign investors of increased access to the Vietnamese dong in the Vietnam's stock markets. These structural and regulatory reforms and changes are expected to attract greater foreign investment into Vietnam, to their stock markets. Vietnam's stock exchange is also collaborating with other global exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange and the London Stock Exchange to better integrate the Vietnamese dong and their stocks into the global financial system. Just think about that. The Vietnamese dong potentially having access to global stock exchanges, which never happened before. Imagine the value in that and how it would impact the Vietnamese dong. The tokenization process, folks, involves converting digital tokens and blockchains and enhancing liquidity. Think of it like this. This is where the floodgates will begin to open. The access. It's like when I think of how people are online, long lines on Black Friday at stores like your Best Buys or your big box stores or whatever place to buy a product. People are lined up overnight, or even sports events. People lined up, camped out overnight. Miles long lines waiting to get into a venue. That's exactly what's happening with Vietnam's stock market. Foreign investors lining up to flood in to the Vietnamese stock market. And folks, it will only be the Vietnamese dong that will be utilized. The demand for the Vietnamese dong is highly expected to go up with the potential upgrade of the FTSE Russell next month. And then the MSCI next year or beyond. Then there's others that are piling on to upgrade Vietnam's stock market. So we have the tokenization of Vietnam's stock market. The tokenization of NASDAQ. All digital, all electronic, and the digital transformations that are happening in Iraq. All of this at the same time. Coincidence? You think? Or by design? The new digital banking system. Remember, the technical term on paper is the digital asset-based trading system. There are many countries that are preparing for this rebirth into the new digital banking system. Their currencies will be affected. So will your bank account. Stay grounded, stay tuned. We love you, folks. Be well.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.